During the next half hour, we'll show you how children in a tough West Side neighborhood are given a safe haven to help them learn and grow. The Archdiocese of Chicago and Catholic Charities launch a massive food drive. We'll tell you about the Super Stadium Challenge. And we'll talk to Cardinal Blase Cupich about the sin of racism and the irreparable harm it brings to this country. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Hello, I'm Todd Williamson, Director of the Office for Divine Worship with the Archdiocese of Chicago. And I am here in studio with Cardinal Blase Cupich. Cardinal, it's good to see you.
Todd, always good to be with you.
Thank you. We've got a number of things that we want to talk with you about today. Our first topic is not news to anyone. It's all over, just all about the violence in Charlottesville, Virginia. You've commented on that. The bishops, various other bishops have commented about it. But you wrote about the sin of racism. That's what you called it, the sin of racism, in your last column in the Chicago Catholic. And in there, you called racism our country's original sin. I think that's a startling image. Could you talk about it?
Well, it is. It's because from the very beginning of our country, the fact that we didn't solve it meant that it was solved by a civil war. And so from the very beginning, at the roots of our nation, the oppression of people because of the color of their skin into slavery is part of our heritage. And it is something that we need to understand, that it has generational impact. So it is important, I think, as I said in the article, to realize that our aspiration deep down for each one of us, and from the very beginning of our country, is that we are all one family. And so how do we balance that history and that legacy of slavery and racism that was underneath it with the aspiration that we have to be one nation, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. So I think that we struggle with that. And what we saw happened this past week is a group of people who, by their own definition, are racist in the strongest sense, where they believe that their race is superior to others. And as a result, they feel as though others don't have the same place and rights at the table of life. And that really is, that's why it's very easy for them to spin off into not only white supremacists, but the Nazi tradition, the Nazism, because that is what Hitler believed in, that there was a super race above all the others. That's very dangerous. And it led to catastrophic results for especially the Jewish people, but also was involved in the decision to go to war.
Is that the sin, the desire to reorder God's creation, to take us out of one family?
Well, I think, of course, every sin begins with a desire, but it's worse than that because it's acted upon. And that's what really makes it a very diabolical sin, where people are oppressed because of this desire to lord it over others. And I think that that is what I wanted to convey. I wanted to be very clear. People said back and forth, well, we want to make sure that we understand this situation. And I think it's time for moral leaders to stand up and say, no, this is wrong and why it's wrong.
The USCCB has established an ad hoc committee against racism.
Right.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's going to be headed by Bishop Murray, who is the Bishop of Toledo, an African-American, a Jesuit. He belonged to the Society of Jesus before he was made a bishop. A very capable man. He served as secretary for our bishops' conference, is well regarded. And I think is a man who is going to offer some real leadership for us. So I'm pleased about that. And I know that Many bishops were calling for this.
In a related development, there's concern about DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It affords protection for children who came into the country as children. Why is that a concern for you?
Well, I know a lot of the DACA students who are studying not only in high schools but colleges and in graduate work. There are a number who are studying for medicine and law here. And they were brought here, and they didn't come into the country on their own. They were brought here at no fault of their own for not having papers. Their only country they know since the early years is the United States. It is their country. They don't have papers. They don't have citizenship. And the first language many of them learned was English as well as Spanish or whatever. So the government has always looked for a way to accommodate them. And so that's why it's important to keep the DACA status for them, because it really does recognize that children shouldn't be punished just because other people made mistakes. Yeah. The other part of it is that if, let's say, they're deported, well, if they came here at 2 years old, the only country they know and the only language they know, it would be like any other child being put into another environment, and they would have no future. They have no root in that country. So it really is inhumane to do that. So the DACA program was designed to acknowledge that situation and to treat fairly in a humane way these young people.
To provide for them.
Exactly.
What's the uncertainty at this point?
Well, there's talk about removing the DACA status for these students. Okay. And I think that it's very important that this continue and that these young people be recognized and allowed to continue their studies here.
Yeah. You shed light, even more so, on the whole question of immigration by a recent visit to Texas,
oh, yes,
to the communities on the Mexican border.
Right.
But before we even talk about that, we need to acknowledge certainly the need for prayers and support for those who are affected by Hurricane Harvey in Texas. As we record this, the rains are coming back in Texas. People are being evacuated around the clock. And there are things that people here, Catholics here in Chicago, can do.
Well, in fact, on September 8th and 9th, that weekend, the bishops of the United States have decided to take up a collection for them to help. And so we're asking people to be generous. People are losing everything. Water damage is some of the worst damage possible. Yeah. Mold comes in, but also then there can be all sorts of health problems result. And so people really are suffering a great deal, and they will for some time. So the collection will then go to the Bishops' Conference with Catholic Charities helping you as well.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Catholic Charities USA
yes.
and our own Catholic Charities are providing ways to help. You can go to the Archdiocesan website. That's archchicago.org for information on how you can help. So prior to the hurricane, you made a trip, and I think an absolutely wonderful trip. Tell our viewers what happened. Why did you go there, and what did you do?
Well, it was Brownsville, Texas. We went to McAllen. It is a place where refugees come over to the border who are fleeing violence and crime, particularly in Central America. Most of these people are not Mexicans. They come from different parts of Central America, and they've traversed through Mexico to get to the border looking for safety, and they have relatives here. So most of them that we saw were women and children. We decided, in response to the Holy Father's invitation, to really go to the peripheries to help these people. Wow. And that was an aspiration I had when I was made a cardinal. The Holy Father said to the new cardinals, don't be throwing big bashes in Rome when you're a cardinal and making it all about you. And I didn't want to do that anyway. So instead, Catholic Extension, under the great leadership of Father Jack Wall, was willing to accept my invitation to bring a group of people over, but also to host a dinner that would be a benefit dinner for a particular charity that would help those who are on the margins. And we decided to help Brownsville.
And where was the dinner?
It was in the Vatican Museum.
Yeah.
It was in the Vatican Museum. It was quite nice. I was kidding everybody that it was very nice with all this art around us and statues and paintings that they would not be able to take any samples. It's not like taking the salt shaker, you know, in a
You'll
nice
be
restaurant.
frisked on the way out.
That's exactly right. But we raised $175,000 that one night. That helped two sisters who are working in different parts of the Diocese of Brownsville, settling and resettling people, migrants and refugees who are coming. And it really was, I brought some people down from Chicago who are part of the Catholic Extension Board, and it was really, I think, eye-opening for them. And it was a way to support these sisters.
Wow, wow. You said you met some of the people coming through.
Yes.
Can you help our viewers put a personal face
Well,
to that? What was it like?
I went to each of them and I asked them, the ones that I met, where they were from. Did they have relatives here? They all had relatives they were going to go see. And what the situation was like. Some of them were threatened because they tried to get their children into gangs. Others because they knew that their life was in jeopardy because of beatings and robbings. And so they made it across and were given refugee status by the government. And the sisters who were there helped get them settled, got them on buses to be with family members. And it really is heartbreaking. I mean, they were coming from Guatemala and El Salvador, Nicaragua, different parts,
sure.
all those different countries where there's a lot of drug traffic. And I think it's important for us as Americans to take some responsibility, because these gangs and these narco traffickers really are supported by and large by American drug use. And I think that there's something should prick the conscience of people here who are drug users, who use drugs recreationally. There's a cost, a human cost here. We're funding people to buy guns, to create, to commit great crimes, and there is a responsibility on our part as Americans.
Wow. All of that finds effects here close to home, right? Even our own archdiocesan efforts, like the Peace Corner Youth Center,
Right.
That exists. A couple of months ago, you had a news conference with other Catholic leaders
Right.
there to announce some anti-violence initiatives, mentioned that earlier. But since that news conference, our own Office for Radio and Television visited the Peace Corner to see about highlighting some of the great work that they've done, and we have a video package to show.
Oh, great.
Let's take a look at it.
All right.
The reason why I like the Peace Corner Youth Center because I get to meet new people and I get to bond with my friends.
I like the staff. I like to come here because it's fun. And my cousins don't come here and we play with each other and laugh and joke around.
Young students enjoy their time at the Peace Corner, away from gang violence that is all too prevalent in the Austin neighborhood on Chicago's west side. The students are encouraged to rise above what their surroundings might dictate.
So what we try to do is try to teach the kids that you can be better than what your circumstances are, and try to give them a different environment within these four walls to be able to prosper and be able to be productive young citizens of society.
More than 50 kids from 6 to 16 were at the Peace Corner when we visited, and the mentoring was nonstop, beginning with the morning peace circle.
Pray for their parents even now, that they would have everything that they need to send.
They treat me with respect, and you treat people with respect how you want to be treated. They tell us the right and wrong thing to do.
It's hope for them. It's eye-opening. It's mind-changing. Because before, it doesn't matter if you change someone's environment if their mindset is still the same. So we try to give them a mindset change. And I try to let them know and open up a little bit about me and letting them know I made it. From the inner city, single-parent household, whole lot of roadblocks, but I still went to college.
The value of education is stressed at the Peace Corner. No coincidence that one of the walls of the gym sports university banners from across the nation. Students in the summer program, as well as in their after-school programs, are taught everything from basic math to life lessons.
I like coming to the Peace Corner because if I'm doing something wrong, the staffs will get me in the right place and What I learned in here at the Peace Corner, we did a lesson on manners, conflict resolution, the food pyramid, and I like learning. I learned about synonyms, math stuff that I've been already knew, division, timetables, mostly everything that I can think of.
Operated by Catholic Charities, the Peace Corner offers free assistance to parents unable to afford traditional daycare programs for their children. Job training and placement for young adults, along with various other services, are also provided. The staff is driven to give those in their charge every chance to succeed.
I told the young ladies, when you want something, you have to, it's a certain way in how you want to do it. When you're serious about something, you have to let people know, I'm serious. When you're talking to someone, when you're having a conversation, like I tell some of my younger kids, you can't look down on the floor. You have to let someone know that I'm looking at you in your eyes. I'm acknowledging your presence. I'm letting you know that, I'm serious about what it is that I'm talking about.
The Peace Corner is a place where they can come and feel safe, be themselves. It's a healthy environment, an encouraging environment. It's a stress-free environment. And we just try to connect them with opportunity, connect them with their dreams and their goals.
And as far as these students are concerned, it's never too early to set some goals.
I look forward to be a police officer because I want to keep the killing out the world.
I want to be a doctor because I could help the sick people and like the people who need shots, I could give them that and stuff like that.
I don't know how I can explain it, but I want to help people that's homeless.
With videographer Mike May, I'm Jim Dish reporting from the Peace Corner.
Some moving comments from those who benefit from the Peace Corner.
Isn't it something? Those young people looked at what was being done for them, and that in some way moved their aspirations about life. But that's the way it works. I think people who have been helped over the years do many times move into another direction. That's why some people who were affected by a great teacher want to become a teacher. Somebody who was impacted by a coach wants to get into coaching. I think they want to some way continue the good that was done, and we heard some of that here from these young people.
Yeah, continuing the good. Well, that even continues with our conversation, because I want to talk a little bit about a new initiative with Catholic Charities, and it's even connected with the Catholic schools.
Right.
The Super Stadium Challenge.
Right.
And for our viewers, that's Super, S-O-U-P-E-R.
Right.
All right. We have a little bit of a video segment on that.
Oh, good.
Let's talk about it afterwards, but let's take a look.
Great.
Hi, I'm Charles Tillman. Hunger and food insecurity exists in every community. The face of hunger can be anyone, and too often, it's a child. Did you know 1 in 5 children doesn't know where his or her next meal is coming from? And that's why I'm here at Soldier Field working with the Catholic Charities and the Archdiocese of Chicago to host the Super Stadium Challenge, an effort to help Chicagoans in need. Now, our goal is to secure enough food donations to fill every one of the seats in Soldier Field twice. Well, it's 4, but it's really 2 and 2. Now, I'm asking every student, teacher, and faculty member of the Archdiocese of Chicago, as well as all of the supporters, to bring in 1 can of food to stock the Catholic Charities food pantries. This effort will provide more than 100,000 meals to Chicagoans in need.
The Archdiocese of Chicago and Catholic Charities are working together to fight hunger.
Every 30 seconds, someone reaches out to Catholic Charities for help. That's nearly 1 million people served annually.
This effort is more than a food drive. Through the challenge, we will focus on educating everyone about hunger and about our mission as Catholics to help others.
We give them much more than a bag of food or a place to sleep. We give them hope. We cannot do this alone.
Please join us.
Our work is a community effort. We need your support.
Together, we can help eliminate hunger.
We are thrilled to work with Catholic Charities, Charles Tillman and his Cornerstone Foundation, and the management of Soldier Field to launch the Super Stadium Challenge.
This effort is more than a food drive. Through the challenge, we will focus on educating everyone about hunger and food insecurity and about our Catholic mission as Catholics to help others.
Our goal is to effect real and lasting change in our community. Please join us in this important effort. Together, we can help eliminate hunger.
Food insecurity is not knowing where your next meal is coming from.
There are nearly 600,000 people in Illinois under the age of 18 who struggle with hunger.
In the city of Chicago, nearly a quarter of the population
lives below the federal poverty line.
At Catholic Charities, over 250,000 people are served a year by their 8 food pantries. We can help eliminate hunger. Please join us. Please join us. Please join us.
I will advocate to help eliminate hunger.
I will speak out to help eliminate hunger.
I will create charities.
I will donate.
I will volunteer. I will give my time to help eliminate hunger. I will advocate.
I will donate.
I will follow Jesus. I will pray to help eliminate hunger. I will fundraise. I will tell others. I will do everything I can.
I will raise awareness to help eliminate hunger.
I will encourage others to help eliminate hunger.
I too will personally donate to help eliminate hunger.
Be a part of the solution. Join us in filling up Soldier Field.
The Super Stadium Challenge, to fill every seat in Soldier Field
with at least 2 food products.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
So this is being co-sponsored by Cornerstone Foundation,
right,
Soldier Field, and Catholic Charities.
With our schools.
With the Catholic schools.
Right.
In all of that, what that could do for Catholic Charities. Talk a little bit about the hunger, the problem of hunger in our city.
Well, you see it, many of our parishes have soup kitchens and food pantries, and so this is a way to highlight the good that's done throughout the Archdiocese. I think it's also important to let young people know that there are kids who go hungry every night. Part of that also we're discovering is that while some children get meals during the school day, the school week, we're finding that on the weekends there's not enough food. So they come back on Monday quite hungry, and sometimes Monday is a very difficult day in school for them because they haven't eaten very well. So it is a reality, and you would think that in a country with great prosperity that's not the case, that children go hungry. But I can tell you it is a problem that kids face day in and out, and people do as well. So this effort by people coming together in partnership not only helps with that hunger issue, but really makes us aware of the need, and especially our children.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to isolate our children into a world that's safe, that's well fed, that's prosperous. And I think we're doing them a disservice by sheltering them from the reality.
It was John Paul II who said, "None of us is saved as an individual alone, but always as a member of the community."
Right.
Doesn't something like this help teach our Catholic youth at a young age?
Right.
You are a member of a community. You're part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Well, it is, and I always like to tell young people when they receive the sacrament of confirmation that the spirit they receive is a spirit given that God uses to make a people, not just to give me a gift, but to make us more a member of the body of the people of God. And I think that's very important as we think about the way we are gifted by the Spirit. It's not just so that our gifts come out and that they are animated by God's Spirit, but all of it should be directed in such a way that we realize that God is making us into a people.
Yeah, yeah. Addressing racism, addressing hunger, addressing anti-violence, and the whole Archdiocesan Anti-Violence Initiative, all working to take these away. Another example of something being taken away is most recently the solar eclipse, right?
Yes.
Our school children took part in it. You took part in it. We saw the
yes,
tweet. We saw the tweet of you with your glasses.
You should show that little photo of me. It was very interesting. They came to the office one day and said, "Put these on. We want a photo."
Yeah. Well, our radio and TV folks went out to 2 schools, St. Maria Goretti in Schiller Park and St. Hilary School in Chicago. They talked with students. They talked with the teachers about this celestial event. Last story of our time together. Let's take a look.
Great.
It was a chance to view the partial solar eclipse, which once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm always trying in the classroom to build a better understanding and want to explore the world, so hopefully they'll want to explore the world more after seeing this.
Watching this made me really excited to go back to school because I love science, so watching this made it even more exciting to learn about science. Watching how with the clouds it would go away and then come back, and then that it just would move, and it was really cool.
Seeing this makes me really excited because science is also my favorite subject. It was cool to experience the eclipse with all of my classmates in my school.
The kids were so excited to see it. I was excited to see it. The moment we saw the partial coverage, the maximum coverage that we were going to get was so cool, and the kids seemed to really like it. It's just an opportunity to see the world around us. I mean, it's a big world, and just be awestruck by the power of the world.
Today we're celebrating, first off, our first day of school, and next we're celebrating this great American solar eclipse. So we're out here with our solar glasses on. We did the pinhole projectors looking at the total coverage for Chicago, which is about 87% of the solar eclipse.
I saw a circle with a yellow crescent on the top.
Careers in the future are going to be needing science and technology, and our students today need to be aware of that so we can be competitive economically, and also we're going to be producing more and more scientists.
So there's a box, there's nothing really in it, but I put aluminum foil right here, and there's a little hole, and so the sun, you could see the moon in front of the sun, and at one point the sun will go away, or it will seem like it goes away. Do you see that?
It's easy to teach excited children about science. If they think it's exciting, it's not work, it's adventure.
It's the solar eclipse. That's the moon going over the sun.
The eclipse!
Isn't it great? Wow.
I want to remind our viewers that that eclipse video and hundreds of other Catholic videos can be seen on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Cardinal, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights and your comments about these most important topics. It's always good to be with you.
Great.
We'll see you again next time.
Thanks so much, Todd.
And our viewers, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us for Catholic Chicago. Until then, God bless.
We invite you to watch segments of Catholic Chicago and hundreds of additional Catholic videos at youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.